Hey guys, it's been a long day. Welcome to this crazy old house. And today it has been a crazy old house. I had a simple spigot replacement on the claw and ball tub, and it turned into pretty much an all-day thing with leaks. And anyway, I've got it on there now, and we're fixed one of the leaks that happened after the video, and you see everything looks good, and I think everything's done. But then when I get back from picking up a piece of furniture, a gossip chair, I had a puddle of water on the floor. So anyway, we got it fixed. Thanks for being here. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button if you would. Here's the video from two separate angles. One of the camera's batteries run out, so yeah, I know the tub, we got to clean it. So any suggestions regarding how to get that tub clean, put them in the comment section below. We'd love that. All right, here we go. Okay, the first thing I'm doing here is making sure that the water is in fact turned off. I've gone into the basement to do that, and I wanted to get that table out of the way. Now, I probably should have left the table there and mounted the camera that I have mounted on the end of the tub. I probably should have mounted the camera there so you could actually have a fixed camera. What I did was took an old hat that I wear all the time when I'm working and drilled a hole in it and put a mount on it for the Ocaso 7 LE, a poor man's GoPro, and it's a little shaky at times, so forgive that. But anyway, what I'm doing here is I've got to disconnect these two lines. If you notice, one line on the left, the cold water is fixed, and the other one is a braided water line. Make sure if you do this at your place or somewhere else or wherever, make sure that you hold the PVC in place. I turned it just a little to see if maybe it'd come loose. I suspected it wouldn't. Old house, I don't know how long the water lines have been there, so I decided hold the PVC and then use the other channel locks to actually loosen the water line without breaking the PVC. Anyway, it came loose relatively easy. Had to put a little pressure in it, held the PVC line in place, didn't break that, so that's good. If you'll notice, half the tub is painted white, the half that's visible to the bathroom. So whoever did that in the past didn't bother to get on the other side. It's a little tight in there, so I sort of get it. There was a little bit of water left in the line, nothing big here. It's pretty much just changing everything out. I was going to fast forward this, but in just a second I want to show you something that happens here with the plumbing on this line. This coupler that screws into the PVC pipe had a dried out rubber seal. Even though it's not in this video, later on that evening I noticed I did have a leak down there at that hot water PVC joint. It was a very small leak. However, any leak's not acceptable. I had to end up going back to the hardware store and pick up a new coupler. I have no idea how long that coupler was on there, but it was on there long enough that seal was completely dried out. So I had to end up going back to the hardware store that evening, getting a brand new coupler, and basically redoing that hot water coupler and that line. And then we got no problems. Everything seems to be working just fine now. No more water on the floor. But this is just taking off the braided line. I ended up going with two high pressure reinforced vinyl lines, and the reason I did that is because they did not have 20-inch braided lines at Home Depot or at the local hardware store. This one's actually fixed, and I was concerned that if I had to use new couplers on both of them and I got longer couplers, that I wouldn't be able to use the fixed line. And you know what, I just don't like it when things don't match up, so I went ahead and went with the reinforced braided vinyl lines, and you'll see them in just a little bit when we get to that place. But everything came off pretty good, so let me speed this up till I get to taking the spigot actually out. All right, before we actually get to the removal of the old spigot, I wanted to point out the fact that I did buy 2 valves so I would be able to turn off the hot and cold water right there at the base of the tub. And that was another reason I needed to go with flexible on both sides, because the fixed pipe that was on the cold water side would not have fit once I put these in there. But I didn't like the fact that the whole house pretty much has cutoffs for all the water lines with the exception of the tub. So if the tub ever busted a line or whatever, I would have to go to the basement and cut it off, and there would be a lot more flooding than if I could just reach down there behind it. Now, this is where I went wrong, because this coupler really should have been replaced immediately, but I didn't do it. I just went ahead and went with it. The big mistake. Later on, I had to pay for it. So anyway, just getting my channel lock, seeing if I can get that actually out of there. I was just going to clean it up, and I figured that would work good. But yeah, just invest in a little bit of hardware when you're doing something like this, because it will save you time in the long run. My problem is I hate plumbing. I mean, plumbing, I don't even know if they should allow DIYers to do plumbing, because there's like coarse thread, fine thread, standard thread, there's PEX, there's galvanized, there's shark bite, shark bait, no, not shark bait, shark bite, and there's just 1,000 different combinations to everything, reductions, increases. It gets confusing. I was able to break this free, but it took a little bit. Okay, so here I'm actually putting in the 2 shutoff valves, and decided to go ahead and do that before I got to the removal of the old spigot. Everything seemed to go great. Like I said, I used the existing couplers, and that was a mistake. I had to end up getting a new coupler for the hot water side. I did get lucky on the cold water side. It didn't leak, and so we're good there. But next time I'll purchase new plumbing in every place and just do new. Sort of got lucky. I realize this isn't the most exciting aspect of remodeling an 1889 house, but I said I'd document everything that involved a little bit more than just changing out light bulbs, and so this might help someone who's changing out old plumbing. This one wasn't tight enough, and again, that's the one with the bad coupling. So I kept working it around, and finally I worked it around to the back side. And by the way, once I actually put in the new coupler later on that evening, because of the leak, both turn-off valves are facing in the same direction. Here, this is about as good as I could get. I didn't want to go much further. I was afraid I might break something, but that should have told me something right there. When you got to really work at getting something tightened in, it should tighten up nice and firm, but not where you've got to just about pull a muscle to get it tight. Okay, so here I just want to test the 2 shutoff valves and make sure the water pressure's there, everything's good. So I actually went downstairs, turned everything on, came back up, opened them up real quick, boom, they shot out. Everything's great, at least I think so. I don't realize later on I'm gonna have a leak. So now I'm actually going to take out the old spigot, and it was fine. There was a reducer or an increaser, I don't know what it's called, on one side, so I had to get that off. Had the normal faucet flange nuts on there, so it's pretty typical. I'll speed it up here. So here's where we actually put in the spigot that I bought online at Amazon. I'll provide the link in the description below. I believe it was $118, but definitely fit the time period, and it's actually designed to fit any ball and claw foot tub. So here it is, the unpackaging, and I'm not much of a big unboxer and reviewer kind of thing. It's a great spigot for this particular tub. It has this adjustable arms on both sides, so no matter where your holes are, as long as they're between like 3.5 inches and 5.5 inches, it would work. So I'm just putting the pieces together now, getting it all organized to make sure I got everything I need. All the pieces are in the box, making sure it's not missing anything. But soon here I will notice that the flange nuts are not big enough. They actually will go through the holes that are in this particular tub. So I have to come up with a way to make this work where those flange nuts will actually not go through the holes. I don't want the whole spigot falling off in the tub while you're taking a bath or someone's taking a bath. So it'll be back to the hardware store. So it's back to the hardware store to figure out a solution to this small problem. They did not have a washer that was big enough to accommodate the bathroom fixture as far as the size to fill that hole, so I ended up going with a shallow flange that's actually a decorative piece for the outside of a shower head or the pipe that comes out of the wall. So here I'm actually going to install the spigot itself. You'll notice that I'm making double sure that all the rubber seals are tight in the spigot, and then we'll tighten down, not too much, but enough to secure it. Tighter than just hand tightened, but not too tight. Be careful. The swing arms wanted to move a little bit, so you had to make sure the spigot was still level and so forth. But anyway, it worked out well. So here's where we actually connect the water line to the spigot, and once that's done, we simply clean up and the job is complete. Of course, as I mentioned before, there was actually a leak that I discovered later on that evening right down at the bottom hot water PVC where the coupler came together. I had to replace that, but it was really very easy to do once I had the new coupler, and ever since then it's been great. I realize this is a small job, but there might be someone out there that's got to do the same thing in their house, so maybe this will help a little bit. Next time I'm going to mount numerous cameras in stationary positions because the hat cam thing didn't work out as far as I was concerned. I actually debated whether I would actually put this up. But anyway, thanks for joining. If you like the video and want to follow along with us on this journey of renovating this 134-year-old home, please hit the subscribe button, the like button, and share it with anyone who's interested in this kind of thing. We pray God blesses you, and we'll see you next time. Later.